B2B pre-orders might have saved our business. Genuinely, they have been such a game changer for our business and actually changed the way we run our business all year round. It actually all started with Faire's pre-order functionality. We were just testing it out, but now it's actually revolutionised the way we run our supply chain on our e-commerce business, and it all revolves around pre-orders. In this video, I explain why and actually how we run successful pre-orders for our business. Hi everyone, Lucy here from Candid Founders. On this channel, we share tips and strategies for how you can grow your brand on Faire. And we offer Faire account management services for those brands who want to accelerate their growth on Faire but don't have the bandwidth to do it themselves. If you're curious on how we could support your growth on Faire, head to candidfounders.com and you can book a discovery call with us. So let's talk about pre-orders on a B2B channel. What I mean by this is when we release products early but we don't actually have them in stock, so we have a ship date in the future. The retailers know that the product they're buying isn't ready yet, but they are committed to buying it now and know they're aiming for that future ship date. Faire make managing pre-orders super easy. You can really simply set a product to pre-order with the functionality in the back end. You just select the ship date and Faire will do the rest for you. With the ship dates, make sure you're as accurate as possible. We always set our ship date with a few weeks to spare, so if there are any delays, we're not going to get penalised by Faire. It also allows us to adjust the shipping times and communicate it with our retailers too. If the product happens to arrive early, then great. Faire will split out the orders automatically for you. So if a retailer comes in and they buy multiple things in their basket, some of it's in stock, some of it's not, Faire will automatically split the order, so you get 2 orders from that retailer, so you can ship the one that's ready to go, and then the pre-order will sit there and wait to be fulfilled. When we first started doing pre-orders on Faire, it was a bit quiet for us. We didn't have many retailers going for it, but in the last couple of years, we've got into a rhythm with it, and now we stick every single product on pre-order as part of our sales process, and we get so many more orders. Our retailers come to expect it. So why do we love pre-orders so much? Well, it allows us to make sales on items that we don't have in stock. So if we haven't got a regular release of products every single month, which we can't always afford to do, from an algorithm point of view, Faire sees that we're still making sales even though they are pre-ordered items. This does allow us a greater degree of flexibility in terms of making sure that we do have regular drops of product, and it continues to tell the algorithm that we're doing well, and our retailers love that they can continue to get new product from us. The commitment we're getting from our retailers is amazing as well. Yes, they can actually technically cancel those pre-orders without being penalised in Faire, but we don't really ever get that. Our retailers are in a rhythm with us and they like buying our stock on pre-orders. You could manage pre-orders manually. If you did have retailers coming to you directly, I'd suggest taking deposits for that kind of thing. So you can actually get people to commit more upfront, and that is something we do for large manual orders, which I'll cover off later in the video. And of course, pre-orders are amazing for cash flow, and cash is the single most important metric to keep a business going. So how do we manage pre-orders through Faire, and what are my top tips for making your pre-orders on Faire absolutely fly? So we actually now have a complete system, like a sales process, that we just rinse and repeat each time when we're doing pre-orders on Faire. It makes things really easy internally. So this is how it goes. We go to our manufacturer and our designers with the latest brief on the socks that we want to make. Our designers then come back to us with digital designs of the socks. As a team, we then choose our favorites. So we back and forth a bit and we discuss which ones we like, which ones we'd like to go to sample. We go to sample with those designs, and then we receive those samples in the post, and at that point we're deciding which ones we're going to go forward with. This will depend on what designs have been popular in the past, so we'll look at our sales data and also what's going to fit into our current range and what's trending in this particular year as well. Once we've committed to our manufacturer, we have to pay a deposit to go into production. Manufacturing begins, and at this point we get our manufacturer to provide photography for those socks. It's this photography that we use on Faire to put the pre-orders up. So at this point we've gone into production, we have decided what socks we want to make. We know when they're going to be coming because they've gone into production, and we list them up on pre-order on Faire. We have clear line of sight on when we should receive these orders because we've done this a lot of times before, but again, I said we still give ourselves some leeway, but then we're going to be receiving that shipment in, booking them into our warehouse, and at that point we can ship out any pre-orders that have been made. If there are delays, and it can happen, especially with the world right now, things can happen where boats have gone missing and they can't get through and they have to redirect, and there's all kinds of chaos happening in the world, which means things can get delayed. So it does happen, and that's just about where you need to really clearly communicate with your retailers what's happening. No one has ever had an issue. We then ship the pre-orders, Faire takes the payment, and we receive our payout. Depending on what payment terms you're using with Faire, we set ours to 30-day payout, so we don't get charged, but some brands might decide to have an immediate payout with that percentage charge on it, and it really is as simple as that. That's pre-orders done. So I've now got some top tips for you on how to make pre-orders really work for you on Faire. If your margins allow, consider offering an actual further discounted price on pre-orders for that particular product. So we always do this on our socks. We have margins that allow it, and it means that we're telling retailers that if they buy the stock now up front, they're going to get the best possible deal. And I think that's also why our pre-orders have become so successful for us. Do just test it. I really recommend recommend testing pre-orders, but please don't give up, because the first few pre-orders we didn't really do much for us. However, there wasn't really much love lost from trying it, and now it's become a massive part of our business. So I really recommend trying it and keep persisting with it. Retailers will start to learn that you operate in this way and adjust their buying cycle. So now we're in a rhythm with it, so are our retailers, and we just get those consistent pre-orders every single time. Do make sure you communicate a lot. So just listing them as a pre-order, which is what we did in the first place. We just listed it to see what would happen. Nothing much happens. You do need to communicate it a lot. And again, the retailers will just get used to it and come to expect it. Make sure you're messaging your customers using Faire DM and email, and just keep talking about those pre-orders. Now, I want to touch on pre-orders outside of Faire, because we've got to the point where we're doing large manual pre-orders outside of Faire, because Faire don't quite have that functionality yet, where we need more tiered discounting and also bespoke pricing. Naturally, one of the biggest challenges as a product business is managing cash flow alongside our order cycles and our lead times. We have to order a huge amount of stock ahead of Christmas and front the cost ahead of selling. But pre-orders have really alleviated this burden for us. We have built some really strong relationships with retailers who want specific products from us. So we create bespoke pricing for them, and they commit upfront before we start manufacturing. What this can actually do is actually pay for the cost of manufacturing upfront, or at least the cash deposit that we have to provide before we go into manufacturing. So then the retailers are getting the stock that they want, so they're happy. We're happy because we're covering the production cost, or at least most of it, before we start, and we're also getting stocks in to sell ourselves. So you can see why this is such a game-changing model. So how do we do it? How do we run these large manual pre-orders? Well, being really hot on your margins is the absolute first thing you need to be doing. You need to have a decent spreadsheet working out your margins at various sizes versus the cash outlay for you as a business on this production run. We then communicate clearly with our retailers the cost outlay for them. So they should be able to see that they're getting a really good cost price per unit. It's just about committing to more product up front. So this really only works for larger retailers with bigger budgets, and also those that have a good track record of selling our socks in the past. We're also very clear on production timelines and keeping our retailers in the loop throughout the process. They're putting up a lot more cash up front. It's a larger order, so they're going to want to know what is happening with those socks. Ultimately, it really deepens the relationship we have with our retailers, as well as providing an amazing cash flow opportunity. It has helped us build a more successful business model for our product business, and it's a really reliable income source that actually stimulates cash flow. So it's been a win all round. So if you haven't tried pre-orders yet, what's holding you back? Let me know in the comments. And do let me know if you've got any questions. I always get back to everyone. Subscribe to this channel to get more advice on how to thrive on Faire, and I'll see you in the next video.